Hi Lars, you are a speaker on our Code Europe conference. You were talking about HoloLens at Cortana in Krakow, where we met. How do you like on Code Europe? How do you feel Code Europe? And what was the most surprising thing?
Yeah, well, thanks for having me. First of all, this is an amazing event. I'm very impressed. What surprised me the most is that how pleasant everybody is, because I don't know. I've never been to Poland, and I had this kind of stereotype of Polish people, a little bit sort of standoffish, a little bit sort of closed. But everybody been really welcoming, really helpful. I haven't felt like a foreigner. I felt like embraced. So I've been really quite happily surprised about that.
Okay.
Yeah.
So now let's have some technical talk.
Yes.
The first question is, can you describe in 5 sentences or more what HoloLens are?
Yes. So HoloLens is what's called a mixed reality device. And I've sort of come up with the term digital reality because there are many of them. There's virtual, augmented, and mixed realities. The virtual reality is what we kind of know from back in the 80s actually, where it's a completely immersive experience. So all of your reality has been replaced by a digital reality, hence the coin virtual reality. And it has applications, and it's very powerful. It's your Oculus Rift, it's your Vive, Google Cardboard, those sort of devices that are in the market now. Then you have augmented reality, which is a way that you can take your physical reality and augment a part of it, as in change a part of it, or enhance a part of it. And we often see that with little tiny mobile devices, there's a trigger point. You point it at something and something happens. So that could be a brochure for a car where the car comes up, or it could be a card game where the characters come to life. But you need a device to look through to have the experience. And then we have HoloLens, which is currently the only mixed reality device that is in the market. It's still very much a developer device, but you can buy it. And what sets it apart is that you have real life, let's say real holograms, so virtual digital assets or characters or shapes in your physical world. And you have the device on your head, obviously, and the key to this is that the holograms interact with your physical world. So the best example I have, to just sort of quickly show you, is that imagine you have a holographic ball that sits on the table. So it's round, right? You put it on the table with the HoloLens, you tap or whatever you do. Now it's sitting on a table, and when you see through the HoloLens, it looks like there's a ball on the table, right? If I took the table and I tipped it, the ball will fall off, even though it's a hologram, right? So the digital asset interacts with the physical world in a very, very natural way. And that's the key for mixed reality or for HoloLens, is that it's a natural extension to enhance your entire world with digital reality.
Okay. So can you explain what is the difference between virtual, mixed, and augmented reality? Because a lot of people don't know the difference because there are subtle ones.
Yeah, they are. The easiest one is virtual reality because you are completely removed from your physical world. So with your Oculus and a Vive, you put it on and you can't see any of the real world. So virtual reality is just that. You completely remove the user from the physical world, which is also why you can't move around because you can't see where you're going. So it has limitations in that way, but it also is very powerful because you can replace the whole world that you see, right? So you can have very, very immersive experiences. Although I've seen examples of horror games where people just freak out because it's so real, right? And then you have augmented and mixed. Mixed is kind of like an extension of augmented reality. They're very closely related. But the key to augmented is that you can still see the real world. Augmented reality experiences are often very, very small. So because you only have this tiny device that you look through. Whereas then mixed reality is that you mix the interaction between physical and digital is what's key. None of the other platforms have that, where you can have real world, and it doesn't. The idea is that it doesn't matter what room you're in, right? There's no setup for the HoloLens. You just start an app in wherever you are, and it scans your environment and knows where you are.
Okay.
So I think that kind of explains it, I hope.
Yeah, I think so. Okay, so the next question is, which technology, AR or VR, will have the biggest impact in the future, and in which areas?
Impact, that's an interesting term. I think VR is incredibly powerful for something like gaming. Because you can control the whole environment of what the user's experiencing. Gaming is a huge part of that. But having said that, something like I saw examples of prototyping a forklift. So you have the user with a VR headset, and he's in a forklift, and he's learning to use and drive a forklift, which is also very powerful because you don't have to buy a forklift. If he crashes something, doesn't matter, right? So there's different examples and different scenarios for it. With augmented reality or mixed reality, it's much more of an enterprise tool. We're seeing augmented in still very limited experiences, such as a card game that comes to life. But I think it's a pity that something like Google Glass didn't expand. I'm hoping it comes back because it was a really good way of giving people a very small device that would give a lot of context. So Tesla, the car factory, for example, uses Google Glass for real-time information on their product line. So they can go around, they can see, and they can actually see in real time, how many parts they've got left and whatnot. So I don't think one is going to be better than the other. I think there's room for both, no problem. But I think the application paths are going to be very different for the two.
Okay.
Yeah.
You touched my next question.
Yeah.
How about using HoloLens in the industry, example in factories, etc.?
Yep. So yeah, to me that's what it's all about. To me, gaming on HoloLens is less important. Yeah. There is currently something called RoboRaid, which is it scans your room and robots comes out of the wall and you shoot them. And it is a mixed reality experience. It's very, very good and very well done. I don't think that's the key to HoloLens though. I think it's large corporations that will use them for, could be engineering tasks. I know Volvo is using it for modeling parts for their engines. It could be healthcare, there's elevator companies that give them to the engineers to actually fix elevators and know what's wrong with hologram overlays. So again, it doesn't matter where they are, it just knows that, I recognize that shape or whatever, however it works, right? So HoloLens has much more of an enterprise feel to me, and the key to this though, and I go through this in my talk as well, is that it's important that if you have a HoloLens experience, that it's not a virtual reality experience. So don't build an app for HoloLens that you could have built for the Vive or the Oculus. You're kind of defeating the point, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So if you don't have holograms that interact with the real world, that you're in no matter where you are, well, it's not really a holographic or a mixed reality experience. So to me, it's less about where do we go with it, it's more about using it the right way. And I think enterprise is much better suited at using HoloLens in that regard.
Okay, so you also, another one, touched another topic which I wanted to ask you about. Would it be an open platform or closed with verification of applications that came on?
Well, it already is open, essentially.
Yeah.
You can right now develop an app for HoloLens and publish it to the store. And anyone with a HoloLens can download it. So is that what you meant? Is that the question? Yeah? In terms of openness as well, I mean, I don't know this. I don't work for Microsoft. It's important people know this because I don't get inside information. But I think that there's a real need for other companies to pick up this technology and create other mixed reality experiences. And I think Microsoft's going to push that and give away a lot of the technology to facilitate that. I think there's hopefully going to be a lot more different mixed reality devices for sure.
Okay, and at the end, the last question, I suppose the answer is, everybody is interested about the answer of this question. When do you think HoloLens will be available for everybody with all the features like cooperation and sharing?
Yep, I knew this was coming.
It's always coming.
It's purely speculation, right? Right now it's an expensive device, it really is.
$3,000.
Sorry?
$3,000.
It's $3,000 US. It's available in some markets like Germany, UK, Australia, US, Canada, Japan's coming soon. There's a couple more, Ireland I think. And that, the more that opens up, the more people will obviously buy it. But it still is very limited. As a private person, it's unlikely you'll buy one. So what you're saying is, when does the consumer device comes out? And I think there's a couple of things that need to get right. First of all, currently it's a developer kit, so developers are more forgiving in terms of, that didn't work, all right, it'll work next time. Consumers aren't like that. If it doesn't work, they'll just leave it. And I think that there are problems with the field of view. Currently what you see is very limited. It's like a letterbox view. And I think that needs to be better. And I'm not sure how far away that is. And then thirdly, the device is not very rugged. If you drop it, it'll probably break. And if you pay $3,000 for it, you don't want it to break if you drop it,
It could
right?
be a problem.
So I think there's still some hurdles to be done. I would say it's probably more than a year away, but again, purely speculation. I just don't know. But that's my guess.
Okay, so thank you for the talk, and see you around.
Absolutely, thank you.
Thank you.